Hey guys, and welcome to another episode of the Kashif Booth podcast. If you're new here, each week I sit down with a guest and we discuss their career so far, the highs, the lows, and what's next for them. Today's guest is Conor Devlin Powell. He's a writer, director, animator, and event curator. He is a multi-hyphenate. Conor, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you. Such a pleasure to be on the show. Oh, and I love the intro. Thank you.
Well, I'm just telling the truth, okay? You are a quadruple threat out here, okay? So yeah, they better get to know. So Connor and I have known each other for many years, okay? Many years. I don't know how we connected. I don't remember. I think it was just social media, innit? Like Twitter. Oh, you're a filmmaker. Oh, let me follow you. And then that's it. And so I remember we ended up meeting one time because that's how I network and stuff. And for some reason, I don't know when, but for some reason, we just became best friends online. I don't know when. I do not know when. It's been so many years. Literally, we have the same interest in music, pop culture, film, reality TV. So I don't know when, but we just started messaging each other and sending each other stuff. And yeah, it's just been ever since. So do you remember when, Connor, like when this happened? Because I didn't remember.
I vaguely, I don't know I don't think it was the start, but I do vaguely remember when we started chatting a bit more was when Love Island it was the year where Amber won and
Okay.
what's it called? And I remember we did a lot of things about you one day, and I can't remember the guy who she was with. And there was this crazy. Do you remember there was that woman who was? I think everyone was calling her like a pasta name. I actually forgot.
Yes, what was her name? Arabella.
Yeah,
And
that was
everybody
it.
was like, what were they saying? Abati Crease. They were calling her mad stuff. I remember.
And I think, and then also, then when I saw you liked the Real Housewives of Atlanta, which is like, like a
Mhm,
top 3 favorite show of all time. I was like, oh, wait a minute, okay, because like I don't know too many people that watch it, so I was like, oh,
mhm.
someone that actually watches it, not just like the clips. I was like, okay, we need
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Because there's a lot of people who just watch the clips,
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, you don't even know the show. Like, no, you need to know the show. Like, actually watch it, not the memes. Okay.
exactly.
hmm Okay. So yeah, I didn't realize it was from then, but that's still a long time. That's like what,
Yeah,
6 years? So
yeah. Three
time
pandemic
flies.
times.
Time flies. And so we just connected, and obviously we're both in this industry as like filmmakers and creatives. And yeah, so Connor is honestly so talented. He's not only just talented, but he's insanely funny. And I don't think people realize this. Okay. Like he has me dying. Like literally. I can't even share some of the stuff we say because we'd be cancelled. Okay. You know it's true. You know it's true. So yeah, so Connor is so funny and he's so talented as well. Like I said, he's such a multi hyphenate. And also many people may not know this, but he's also neurodivergent. So we definitely will be getting into discussing about being a neurodivergent filmmaker and what that means, because I think a lot of the time in today's society, maybe you can comment on this, Connor, is that I feel like who are neurodivergent, autistic, or have all these, disabilities, they share their experiences online. And so people start self-diagnosing themselves. And I feel like that's very dangerous. So we'll get into that. So Connor, tell me how you got started as a filmmaker in this industry.
So I've always been interested in films, like from a young age and stuff. What's it called? Like basically my favorite thing when I was young and stuff was like my mom would take me to the charity shop and get me a VHS. Yeah, I'm that old. And I'd be like, I was like, oh, can I get this film? And she'd be like, oh no, only one film. And I was like, but like, I think, and I just used to just love watching films. And then as I got older, I was like, oh, you know what? I'd love to like work in it and stuff. And I used to kind of like, when I was little, just like draw these films and like, draw like these little scribbles and be like, oh, what's it called? This is the film I'm going to make. And I mean, there would be terrible films. What's it called? Like, I don't know, like, I remember I saw one of them, which was like, what was it? It was like, nuclear chickens or something like that. I was a crazy child. I was a crazy, well,
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
I was a crazy child too. And then, what's it called? When I was about 16, I did this course called the BFI Film Academy with a kind of youth organization called Mouth That Roars, and from there I started making films, and I started I started doing college where I did that as well, and that's kind of where I started getting into the stuff.
Amazing. That's so good. I mean, to do BFI Academy at such a young age, like what was that experience like?
You know what? I was quite like intimidated because obviously I had never made any kind of film before and stuff. Like, what's it called?
Hmm.
Because all of the things were just ideas and stuff. And I think it made me kind of realize a bit like, oh, okay, it was tough, but like at times, but then what's it called? At the same time, I was like, oh, you know what? It's not impossible though. And I think even as I get older, sometimes, you see things, people say, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that. But actually, have to remind myself, you know what? You always get told a lot of things in life. You say, oh,
Hmm.
do this, you can't do that, or you have to do it this way. It's the only way. But actually,
Hmm.
it's never, life is never that easy because if it was,
Hmm.
we'd all just be following the same recipe.
It's true. It's true. It's so, so, so true. So, as I said, you do a lot of like animation and stuff like that. So, like, where does that kind of like inspiration come from? And you were able to get your film on Fully Focused. I just got one of my films on there as well, which is obviously such a great platform. So, what's your relationship like with them? Because you've been working with them for such a long time as well.
Yeah. Honestly, it was a really like interesting way how I kind of, formed a relationship with them because I did like this. Cause sometimes they used to do these like short courses, and
Hmm.
then from there I just came to one, and I drew up these characters and stuff and this script writing thing, and then like I spoke to this lovely person called Jade who works there and stuff,
Okay.
and she was just like, oh yeah, what's it called, stay in contact, and basically then I was like, oh yeah, I will. And then there was going to be some more like master classes, but then obviously the pandemic happened and stuff. However, what's it called? I stayed in contact with Jade and stuff like that. And then,
Okay.
because I kept telling her I was going to send her this script or something like that, which I was. What's it called? What's it called? But then I was like, said, oh, I think it's almost ready. And then she said, oh, that's
Oh,
great. She said, oh,
okay.
by the way, I've seen your face a lot in the Fully Focus. Would you like to join? And I was like, what? Join? I was like, okay. And
Hmm.
basically from there, that's kind of where we've kind of established relationships and grown.
Okay.
Yeah, so yeah.
Hmm. And where does your inspiration come from? Like your animation, like like how does that piece into it? Because you tell a lot of like sci-fi, alternative, mainstream kind of content. So what's your inspiration behind like the stories you tell?
Hmm. I think, you know what, from a young age, I'd always draw like creatures and stuff like that. I don't know. I was
Mhm.
always like really fascinated by like kind of, otherworldly characters. Like I used to love watching what's it called? Like Studio Ghibli films because I used to just love.
Oh
Yeah,
yes.
because I just loved how they looked, and I tried to like make my own characters and stuff. And then as I grew older, I really loved what's it, like Guillermo del Toro stuff because these characters
Mm,
were fascinating to look at and stuff. And I think in terms of animation, I think it came kind of sort of natural-ish to me in the sense that I quite like working quite slow, and which with animation, it's never a
mhm.
fast job, is it?
Oh
And
gosh.
but also as well, like I feel like I just love really like mixed media stuff as well.
Mhm,
I think with the mixed media kind of stuff, I think it really just I don't know, I just love seeing different mediums come together. I think to be honest, that's why I really like film because if you think about
mhm,
film's mix of medias, it's not just like, camera, it's music, it's acting, it's
mhm,
all kinds of things. And I think that's
mhm,
what I think really makes me gravitate towards film as a medium more than other mediums. But I do like
mhm,
mediums
mhm.
too.
Okay. And how do you create the animation? Like, what do you use? Like, because it's stop motion, or do you like do it through like AI, as what
Oh,
everyone's
yeah,
doing these
no,
days?
no, no AI, no, no. What's it called? I have a few different situations. Sorry, because I know a few different techniques. So,
Hmm.
um, with a film I did about two, I think maybe 3 years ago now. What's it called?
Hmm.
What's it called? What I'm hiding from you. What I
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes.
With what I did with that one and stuff was that I actually printed out the film frame by frame and stuff,
Mm.
and I painted over the frames. And then what I would do with the frames, what's it called, was I'd put them back in the edit and stuff, and so then try and piece them back into the same motion, so you could see it kind of the animation slowly going. So it's kind of a bit like a mixed
Okay.
motion, but I think it's called rotoscoping. It's what I did with that film.
Mhm, mhm.
But yeah, there's quite a few techniques you can do.
Okay. And did you learn this, or did you just kind of like teach yourself? Like, how did you learn to do that?
I actually taught myself with this one actually
Mm.
because I watched I can't remember the music video right now, but there was a music video, what's it called, where I saw it and I was just like, oh, this is so cool. How did they do this? And then I saw people
Mhm,
who love the rotoscope animation. I was like, oh, okay. So I looked,
mhm.
then I thought, let me do some trial and error. Did some trial and errors that will never be ever seen because they're terrible.
Okay. I know, trust me, I know what you mean.
But
Okay.
what's it called? But when I did the What I'm Hiding From You, I was just like, I really want to put more. To be fair,
Mhm.
my only regret of that film was I wish I did more. However, at the same time, it took forever to do those things. The thing is with animation stuff is you'll see 5 seconds of animation and you'll be like, and people go, oh, is that it? But then what's it called? But then
Yeah,
you don't know, what's it called? That probably took someone like weeks.
months. Yeah,
Like
like,
even
yeah.
years.
Well, guys, anyone listening, see, you can do what Connor did if you want to create an animated project. Because, you know, I've been trying to do one for years. I love animation. And so I'm still trying to figure it out with like AI, trying to do like a proof of concept, but still trying to push forward my project. So that's really good. And I love that you do that as well. And speaking of projects that are in similar vein of that, you've been developing for quite a while your web series, Battersea Busters. You know, you've been raising money. I donated to the campaign, and you know, you're still going, and I love your perseverance. I love it. You know, tell us about Battersea Busters because it sounds great. As somebody who's also from Southwest London, you know, I love the representation. Okay, so so tell us about like that idea and what it's about and how did the inspiration come from it?
Yeah, so honestly, a bit like how I used to watch a lot of animated films, I also watched
Hmm.
horror films growing up. I'm way too young.
Yeah.
And what's it called? But also I was kind of inspired. So when I was younger and stuff, so my dad, he grew up in Battersea throughout his whole life and stuff.
Mhm.
And what's it called? And he was such a storyteller and stuff. So he would always basically tell me complete bullshit basically. He would basically tell me, "Oh, there's ghosts in Doddington Estate, there's ghosts here, there's ghosts there." And you know what? Me being a very naive child, I'll tell people in my
Mhm.
primary school, being like, "Oh yeah, my dad told me this," and they'll be like, "Oh, he lied." And I said, "He's not lying." And then, like, obviously, he was lying. So, thanks, Dad.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But yeah, and I just used to love those stories as well. And then I was just like, oh, it'd be fun to do something a bit ghostly and batsy and stuff. And then like what's it called? Then one time, what's it called? I saw this sign where somebody said, what was it? It was like something like there's a ghost in Battersea or something like that. There was like a little poster. And
Okay.
I was like, oh. And then I thought, oh, what are these? Some bootleg Battersea Ghostbusters. And I was like, oh. So then the two things, because I had an idea for some sort of Battersea horror thing, and then that, and then I was like,
Okay.
oh, and
Mhm.
of how the idea kind of came together, and yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so it's a web series. Can you share us like what the synopsis is? Not give too much away, just so you know people can find out about it.
Yeah, so basically it's about three nerdy misfit teenagers and stuff who are living in the middle of Battersea, who they've got no prospects, no job, no nothing.
Mm-mm.
What's it called? However, what's it called? When life gives you lemons, you gotta make lemonades. So what's it called? One of them says, listen, why don't we bust some ghosts? And
Oh, sorry, that's so funny.
And so what takes them then is, what's it called? They decide to go to Battersea's most haunted flat 66, and
Mhm.
unfortunately, what's it called? They awaken an 200-year-old demon, as you do, and hijinks ensue.
Mm. Guys, I'm laughing. Don't you find this funny? I mean, please donate to his campaign. Let's get this made. So where can people donate? First of all, where can they donate?
Oh yeah, if you go to Greenlit, what's it called, and search Battersea Ghoulbusters, you can find it. Also, you can go onto my Instagram for it, which is Battersea Ghoulbusters. And yeah, I think those are the two links you can definitely donate and stuff. And yeah, just holler at me.
Amazing. Honestly, because when I knew about the concept as well, I thought of Ghostbusters, obviously, and I thought of Attack the Block. Were they some of like your biggest inspirations as well?
Oh, 100%, yes.
Hmm.
What's it called? Particularly Attack the Block, because I mean, I just love that film growing up. I mean,
So good.
such a
So good. Oh
oh,
my gosh.
and you know, what's it called? And I loved it as well because it what's it called? I felt like it was really nice to see like London-based stuff with genre because I think a lot of times in
Mhm.
London things you see a lot of very like social realist stuff, which don't get me
Yes.
wrong, I'm not saying to hate on it and stuff, but
Uh-huh.
times it's nice to see, you know, the fantasticalness happen in this world.
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
I can only name a few, only about maybe a few films on one hand,
Uh-huh.
kind of, you
Uh-huh.
know, blend London with, you know, kind of
Yeah.
genre type films.
Hmm. No, it's true. It's true. I think it's about not categorizing like all London-based films, and especially people coming from certain socio-economic backgrounds, like people just group it into this when it's just like there's so many stories that you can tell within that. Okay, people living on the estate, but it's not all the same experience. There's certain aspects of that, but there's still a bunch of other things that go on. A lot of happiness, a lot of normal stuff.
Mm.
There's different type of stuff that goes on. So I really like that, and I want it to be made. How many episodes is the web series you're planning to do anyway?
So we're gonna make it like a two-parter. That's what we're thinking.
Oh, okay. Good, good,
Just
good,
kind
good,
of launch
good.
it, and then what's it called? And then you know what's it called? We'll build up interest and see if see what the people are saying.
Yeah, yeah, please. Honestly, it's just so hard. Like, I've done many web series and all of them were self-funded. So all of them were, like the last project, even though we did do a crowdfunding campaign, I still funded majority of that film. Like, do you get what I mean? So, well, that pilot, sorry. So it's just incredibly hard, and I think it's hard to raise money and get funding. Sometimes it's people just saying, "Oh, I believe in the project. I love it." Yeah, people say to you, "Oh, get investors." Yeah, but they're looking for a return on the investment. And then you can't guarantee there to be a return on investment because you can get it into festivals. You might be able to get a distribution deal with some sort of like streaming platform, but I had my stuff on a streaming platform recently, and I'm still waiting for my invoice to be paid. And I sent that in February.
Oh,
So do you
that
understand what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah. So that's the thing. They're benefiting off that and making money, but yet they're not paying the creators. So it's just like it's a catch-22. So I mean, so how much have you raised so far, and how much do you need?
So we've raised almost 5 grand now. What's
Okay,
it called?
amazing.
We want to try and raise about 3 or 4 more, I would say. And
Okay,
yeah.
okay, that's not bad at all. So if anybody who just wants to drop 3K,
Yes.
come on, like that ain't a lot of money to you rich people, come on, just
Yeah,
drop it,
exactly.
Because it's such a fun idea, and we need more stories like that. And because even like I'm listening to what you're saying, and like when you said like they don't do nothing, I was thinking of TLC's No Scrubs because that's the definition of who they are,
Yeah.
So so it's like, come on, guys, like let's get this made because it's funny. We've had stuff like obviously Mandem on the Wall. Like I still feel like there's a market for that, and it would be so good. Like I could see that on like E4 or ITV2 or something like that, or BBC iPlayer now because they're commissioning a lot more fun stuff like that as well nowadays.
True.
So yeah, because do you remember Dead Set? Did you watch
Oh
that?
yeah. Oh my gosh, that's a throwback. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
like there's so many cool things like that. So it'd be so good to kind of get that made. But you've obviously done a lot more other films. I remember it's gone from my head, the title of the film, because I remember it was really good. It was like with the mask. I remember there was a
Oh
guy wearing a
yes, what I'm
mask.
hiding from you. Yes.
That's it. Yes, what I'm hiding from you. And that did so well. I remember it was being broadcasted, heavily promoted at, was it Brighton Film Festival, wasn't it? Or
Oh
something?
yes.
I
Yeah.
can't remember.
Oscar Bright, which is like a learning disability film festival. It's like apparently the biggest one in the UK. So
Yeah, and literally they were using Connor's film as like one of the posters, like to promote the festival, up and down the city. It's in Brighton, right? I think.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
So like tell me about that film. Like how did that come about and how were you able to yeah, get that made and stuff.
Yeah, so it was a commission from Autograph Gallery because they wanted to fund disabled artists, and I basically just told them the idea. We worked on it for a little bit, and then they just said, "Okay, here is 3 grand to work with and stuff." And
Mm,
what was really interesting was because for before I was trying to think who could I've cast because I knew a lot of actors, but the thing was I wanted someone who had a lot of movement and stuff like that. But
mhm,
the thing is, like, a lot of the actors I knew and what's it called, I was like, they're I don't know them to be, I needed someone who had a bit of a dance background.
okay.
But then funny enough, it's almost like fate and stuff. What's it called? I came across a really talented drag queen called Issy. What's it called? And what's it called? And they were into like very like, quite wacky and quirky films as well. And I was just like, I just thought, you know what? And then I just thought one day, I was like, you know what? I think that might be the person for this film. And then like I just messaged them saying, do you want to do it? And then they're like, yeah, absolutely. And
Hey.
no, honestly, and I'll tell you what, they are such a lovely person to work with. Honestly, if
Mhm,
anyone wants to work with them, they're not just a talented dancer and actor, but they're just absolute pleasure to work with as well.
mhm.
And actually they're in the West End right now as I speak.
Amazing. Wow,
It's
that's so
the
good.
Oscar Wilde thing in it's like an Oscar Wilde drag kind of thing and stuff, but it's in like
Mhm,
West End theatres. So, they're super talented and
mhm.
let's see.
Love that. And £3,000 sounds like a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money. And especially to make any type of film. So like how did you make it work with that tight budget, you know? How did you do that?
Honestly, when I say skeleton crew, I mean it's I feel like
Yeah.
it's not even skeleton crew. I think it was more just like bone crew. Because it was, to be fair, truthfully speaking, it was literally me and a DLP called Rue doing everything.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what though? It was actually really nice at the same
Mhm.
because I know some people really hate skeleton crew kind of things. Personally, I'm
Mhm.
not opposed to it because sometimes I always feel like there's a really nice thing. If you've got good quality of people on board, I feel like you can the world's your oyster and stuff because
Yeah.
you could have a
Yeah.
you could have 100 people on set and everybody
Mhm.
be asked what's it called. But if you got like in this case two, at least
Yeah.
what's it called. At least you can keep each other's energy up
Mhm.
and
Yeah.
even though it was difficult at times, what's it called. I feel like the post production was harder because of the animation aspect of it, but the actual making of it wasn't so hard. Although we did break the law
Ooh.
because we did.
Careful now. Don't
Oh no,
don't don't expose yourself.
we did. Yeah, we did film on TFL without a permit. So,
Well,
so that's what I said. No, we did not anything serious. I should. It wasn't.
I
We weren't,
mean, guerrilla filmmaking, it is what it is at this point. It is what it is. Like, listen, it's done now. What are you gonna do?
no, exactly. And I mean, we only had 2 people filming. So I mean, what's cool? We didn't cause disturbance.
Exactly,
So, I mean,
exactly.
although we did get
Hmm.
stopped at the end, which was quite funny. Although we had finished everything, so I was like.
Because they will arrest you as well. I'm just like, damn, is it that deep? Like, calm down,
No.
okay? Like, I totally understand. I've done Skeleton Crew myself. Like, the film, it was a poetry film that I did years ago now, and it was just me, my DSLR camera, a studio, and the sound guy. And the actor, literally, that's all it was. Okay, I was directing them, and I was shooting it, and then that was it. And that won me my second award. So I was like, okay, hey, so you can do like skeleton crew. It's just about the quality of the project, like not everyone has the money. If you're able to cut corners and be able to tell an effective story through the visuals and the writing and the directing, obviously, that's what counts. So that's so good. And I love the work of you as an artist because it's nobody can kind of put you in a box as to what your work is. And so it's really good. So how would you describe yourself as like a creative? What would you call yourself?
Ooh. Hmm. I feel like I definitely would say like, what's it called? It's hard, because I'd say like probably like artist first in terms of like what's it called?
Mm-hmm.
Because I do so many different mediums and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I would say like artists and stuff, but I also feel like writing is something that I just really love doing and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
especially
Okay.
in the comedic thing. But actually, you know what? It's weird because I feel like I prefer making experimental films, if you know what I mean, and stuff.
Yes,
Then what's
yes.
it called? But I like writing more kind of conventional comedic scripts. So
Mm-hmm.
I've got like these two kind of sides to me and stuff. Like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
a little David Lynch on one shoulder, and then I've got like a little I don't know, Tim Burton on the other.
Okay, okay, no, but that's kind of like Jordan Peele, for example. Like he has that iconic sketch show Key and Peele,
Yeah.
and then he does stuff like Get Out and Us and Nope and all that kind of stuff. So it just shows that you can't put creatives in the box. And for so long in the industry, they were always putting you in a box saying you do this, so you have to work your way up to this. But it's just like we're creatives, like we want to do all different kind of things. So I really like that because you are this multi hyphenate person, and like I said, you've also an event curator, and you did your very first event recently in the summer called Neurospicy, and that was all about championing neurodivergent creatives. So tell me about that event, why you wanted to do it, and yeah.
Yeah, you know what? I've been wanting to do an event like this for such a long time because what's it called? I just feel like there's not enough like neurodivergent film making setups out there and stuff. I mean there's fantastic ones like Oscar Bright and all that, but I felt like I couldn't think of any in London and stuff. So I thought, I really want to make this. And then thankfully, after working with Battersea Arts Centre on an exhibition earlier this year and stuff, they said that they had free space and stuff and that they had like in-kind space to kind of, host anything that would be what's it called, that goes with their kind of ethos and stuff. And I just said, oh, I would love to do this. So I filled out a form and I just told them what it was about, and they were like, oh, fantastic, that's great. And then they said, okay, you got the space on August this, and I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, literally, like I remember as soon as I was confirmed it and stuff, I remember messaging Yasmin and stuff, who is a
Mhm.
fantastic neurodivergent creative herself and
Yes, and
stuff.
she's been on the show as well.
Well, yes, yes.
Yes.
And you know what? I was just like, "Oh, I'm doing this. Would you like to do it?" She was like, "Absolutely." And I was like, "Oh my God, okay, I'm winning." Okay, she said yes, okay, I'm winning. And um, honestly, it was just what's it called? And then I think it was just really trying to like find people to
Mhm,
come and stuff. And you know what?
mhm,
I was so anxious because it was about 3 months I had preparation and stuff. What's
mhm.
it called? The first month and a half, I think I only had about 3 people coming, and I was like, what? But then it was weird because I'd have all these comments being like, "Oh, I'd love to go," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, you can. Here's the ticket," and I'd be like, "Fuck it." But then thankfully, which was so nice was it called just the week before the whole thing had
Mhm.
sold out and stuff.
Amazing. Yeah, yeah,
Amazing
yeah.
because I didn't expect it to sell out because I was just hoping, okay, it's got a capacity of like 45 people. I was like, as long as 20 people go, I'll be happy.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
like, but then to see it actually sell out and stuff. It was weird though. There was a few people that just didn't show up and stuff, but I still got the tickets, so.
Yeah, and they paid. You have to pay, so
Yeah,
you
yeah,
got the
yeah.
money.
Um,
Yes, yes, yes.
but yeah, but it was really amazing as well because also like I got to see some other neurodivergent filmmakers.
Mhm,
Obviously, like I did a post that I'll submit some films, and I saw so many films, and there were so many films I wanted to add to the list,
mhm.
but because of just the timing, and obviously we only could stay in that place for 3 hours and stuff, I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
Mhm,
not
mhm.
I can't have
Yeah.
and also as well, truthfully, as an audience, you're gonna be a bit like, oh my god, another thing. Oh my days.
No, I love that you thought of that. That's what a good event curator does, because sometimes it's like, okay, had enough now. Like, please move on, because
Yeah, because I
So
agree.
yeah.
Because I always feel like when I've got to short film things, I honestly feel like the short films, the compilation should only be an hour long. I don't think
Hmm.
it should be more than that, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
Maybe some people might fight me in the comments, but Mm.
Yes, 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 yes. But you did such a good job. Like, back to tickets, I was like, I'm gonna go, I'm gonna go. I just needed to be like, okay, when can I buy this? But that's what I think people were doing. But I definitely wanted to go and to support you, and it was such a great event as well. And it just shows you how like neurodivergence comes in so many different forms, and you know, it's such a unrecognizable kind of like disability. And I feel like people need to understand it more and not just kind of like use it as a buzzword, you know?
Absolutely.
So yeah, so like as a obviously you're neurodivergent, you know, explain to me what that means because I think a lot of people love to use that buzzword. Oh, I think I'm neurodivergent. What is it?
Yeah, honestly, I think how I always kind of call it and stuff is that I feel like if you are, what's it called? If you have autism, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, or what's it called? I mean, sometimes there is debate on what things are, but what's it called? But
Mm-hmm.
OCD and other kind of things. I think basically it's just
Mm-hmm.
what's it called? Having a neurological condition that affects you in your life and stuff. I think that's
Yeah.
what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
And I definitely think what's it called? A lot of times it's a lot more complicated than social media likes to say. Because sometimes I see people, you know, post these things. They say like, "Oh,
Mm-hmm.
I listen to the same song 10 times a day and stuff," and then they say, "Oh, I'm neurodivergent." But actually, even though don't get me wrong, sometimes there's like slight truth to these things, but it's a bit deeper than just being like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, what's it called? That you like to listen to the same song every day, if you know what I mean. There's
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
more to
yeah.
it and stuff because
Mm-hmm.
you know I think both positively and negatively it affects your life and stuff. For example, I know with my autism, for example, and stuff, I'm quite sensitive to noises and I'm also quite what's the words? Like I do get overwhelmed quite easily and stuff. But then
Mm-hmm.
at the same time though, I don't think if I wasn't autistic, I don't think I'd have this same kind of creativity and the same kind of
Yeah.
interesting way of looking at the world. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the really interesting thing about neurodiversity is that
Mm-hmm.
I think it has this thing where people think it's just one thing or like it's just all negative, but actually there's
Yeah.
this really interesting, positive or like unexplained things that happen when you have these kind of conditions.
Mhm, mhm. And how have you felt navigating the industry as a neurodivergent filmmaker? Because that was definitely like the main USP of your event to really kind of share other people's experiences of how they've moved within the industry. But how have you been directed? How's it affected you directly?
You know what? It's definitely been a very tough journey because I will say like, which I mean for I think any kind of creative underrepresented group and stuff, you know, you do get the microaggressions and you do get
Mm,
like the very strange things and stuff that people say to you. Like I know what's it called? One time I was writing a script and what's it called? And it had an autistic character and the person said, "Oh, this character just comes across too normal." And what's it called? And I was just kind of like, well, I was like, well. I'm neurodivergent. I went to SEN school. I've worked with SEN young people for 7 years of my life.
mhm.
I think I know a little bit about
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
how
like,
people are like and stuff, and I think the
yeah.
problem is people don't, what's it called? I think there's a lot of people that don't know people who are neurodivergent and stuff or see
Mm,
them as what's it called? Maybe a bit controversial to say, but a bit less than as well, I think
yeah.
sometimes,
Okay.
unfortunately. And I think unfortunately there is that stigma that a lot of people have because people say because even though some I've even had people say to me as well and stuff, they go, "Oh, you
Mhm,
look a bit or seem a bit too normal to have autism and stuff like that."
mm,
Just like
mhm,
it's very like what's the words? It's very othering and it's very
mm.
what's it called? And it's also just, you know, a bit shit because it's also like, well, it's you know, of course of course people are normal if they think it's a normal condition and stuff, you know,
Yeah. Mhm,
you know, it's not anything as less normal as people wearing glasses or people having walking sticks and stuff.
mhm,
What's
mhm.
it called? It's just a part of life and what people have or people don't have.
Hmm. I think a lot of the time it's like people expect when you say you're autistic, they just think of like the far end, like the
Mhm.
severe cases, and it's just like, yeah, there's not everyone like that, okay?
No,
Like, and I
exactly.
think for me, like it was always a different experience for me because when I was in primary school, there was a lot of like we had a lot of autistic
Mm.
kids, so I was able to have at such a young age kind of first-hand experience of what it's like being with people who are autistic and seeing the different stages of who they are as people, you know, and the spectrum of how far it can go. So I feel like I'm very lucky in that
Mm.
aspect. So I was able to really understand, and they were always my friends. They used to gravitate to me. I was always that one who used to make them feel normal,
Mm.
you know, because I just saw them as that. And so I definitely understand that, because I think the industry has become very, very, it not become, it is very ignorant. I remember going to a panel talk in, like, it was a panel diversity talk years ago. This was probably about 6, 7 years ago. And I remember this woman saying that, like, you know, she's been in the industry for years, and until somebody can show me how we can actively um incorporate people who have disabilities into the industry, then I won't believe it, because it's just not possible. And I just found that so interesting. Like, you're saying this on a public platform, so you're kind of proving what everyone says, that you're choosing to not adapt. And the issue that I've always had with the industry is that, you know, everything is so like fast paced, and it's just like bam, bam, bam. And oh, we don't have time for this. We don't have time for that. You need to know what you're doing, and you need experiences like that. Where it's like, well, if every other industry in the world can adapt and has to adapt, so can you. So it's just,
Exactly.
you're operating out of this place of ignorance, impatience. And I think a lot of the time what happens is that people's opinions on things don't change unless they experience it. So, like, unless you meet somebody, or you work closely with somebody, or it's like a family member, or it's like really directly affects you, that's when their opinion will change. But it shouldn't take you having somebody close to you personally for that to change, you know?
Mm.
And so that's, yeah, it just annoys me. I'm very passionate about,
Oh,
I don't like
no.
just, you know, people just discriminating because of that. But as you, as somebody who is like neurodivergent, like, what do you feel like the industry needs to do to incorporate more people who do have disabilities and make them feel comfortable as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think that a bit like what you were saying, I think there needs to be adaptations and stuff. Because what's it called? Because I think we're also, you think when we don't do these adaptations, we're actually losing a lot of talent and stuff as well and stuff. Because I think it's,
Mhm,
what's it called? It's really sad because I know there's a lot of people there who are neurodivergent and great filmmakers and stuff. And it's like, why is their work not on TV and stuff? Like, why is their work not in a cinema? And
mhm,
I also just think as well, sometimes there's this kind of thing where they're like, oh, they're getting special treatment, but actually it's not
mhm.
special treatment because what's it called? Because, like, what's it called? These adaptations so they can get on the same playing field and stuff because what's it
Yeah,
called? Because I think they say, oh, oh, they've given them more time. Why can't I get more time? But it's things you don't need more time. They do. What's the
exactly.
difference?
Hmm, hmm.
um, yeah, and I think it's just sometimes there's that. And also I think as well, there needs to be more neurodivergent people in the like what's it called in higher ups as well and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it's good to have people who kind of understand how other people their own how their own people and their own conditions work as well.
Hmm, hmm. No, it's true.
Yeah, and also I think in terms of like the media that's made as well and stuff, I think there needs to be more like normalizing and stuff. Because again, what's it called? When I write scripts and stuff, one thing people always say is, "Oh, the character's too normal and stuff." And it's like, what's it called again? What's it called? We have the same feelings and stuff. We eat, we drink, we cry, we smile. What's it called? Because we have autism, we don't just do maths all day and we don't feel any emotions and
Yeah,
stuff. And I think
yeah.
that's the crazy thing.
Hmm. No, it's so true. It's so true. And I think again it's because, like I said, ignorance. Like, you're assuming that autism is just a severe case. Like, you're thinking of the worst case scenario, when showing diversity of characters is showing the different nuances
Mm.
of people. You know, and that's literally what it is. Like, and then I don't think people understand that. And I think you're right. There definitely needs to be more people who are neurodivergent in places of power. And I think it's also, everything is market based, so it's like showing industry figures that there is a market for these stories in a particular way, you know. Because I think, there was a film, there's a film I saw. I can't remember if yes, there's a film coming out. I saw the trailer. It looks amazing. It's about a boy who has Tourette's. Yeah,
Yes, I don't know what
yeah.
it's called, but yeah, I saw it in a
It looks
so
amazing,
it's
and I
yeah,
know that's gonna win every single award probably out there. And that's what we need more of. So hopefully that bridges the gap even more, because you need to tell those stories more. And I think, like you were saying, there needs to be more initiatives and more programs. And people love to complain, oh no, what about us? It's like, you lot are fine, man.
So,
Like, but you need that, because if you don't have these initiatives, then there's no other way you're going to get in,
mm,
because of the nepotism,
mhm.
all of the isms, that are just against, you know, against you, and the phobias and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're on the right path with you doing Neurospicy and your films and stuff like that. And so many talented filmmakers. That's what I wanted to say as well, is that at the event, you had so many great neurodivergent filmmakers who were just telling normal stories like everybody else.
Well,
Did you get
like,
what I mean? Like, and they were all good films. So what's the problem here? Like, come on now, come on.
yeah.
So yeah, it's a funny one. So yeah. So Connor, what is next? What are you doing next? What's coming up? What's on your radar?
So I have another exhibition coming up. So I did an exhibition
Oh,
earlier called Battersea Museum of Horrors. It's coming back in the first week of November at Battersea Arts Centre. So I don't
yes.
have the exact dates just yet, but what's it called? But I know it's in the first week. So come
Okay.
through. Also, what's it called? As well as doing Battersea Busters. I'm working with Fully Focused on a comedy short at the moment. So I'm just developing what
Amazing.
happens with that. Fingers, toes, and eyes crossed.
Good. Yes. 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 Yes.
And yeah, I also called I'm working on some more like kind of drawing based art stuff. So it's still
Mhm.
developed, but what's it called? Once it gets released, of course, you'll see it on my social media. So yeah.
Amazing. So where can people find you? Because you got a lot going on. So where can people find Neurospicy, Battersea Busters, and you, just to be kept updated with what you're doing?
Yeah, so you can find Battersea Busters on at Battersea Busters something. You can find Battersea Busters on at Battersea Busters on Instagram. And for Nora Spicy, we have is Nora Spicy Films on Instagram, so you can find it on there. And also, I should say we're trying to do number two. So what's it called? So stay tuned for that too. I'm just trying to find another venue.
Mhm. And funding,
Oh yes, and
okay.
funding too.
Any
Yes,
people out there, come
someone
on,
drop some
give some
coins.
money, okay?
And for me, you can find me at Conor Dev. However, it's spelled Conaire Dev. I spelled it the old Irish way because I thought that's quirky.
I love that, because it is Irish, right?
Yeah.
So hey, I love that.
I was bored of my last handle. I thought, I need to change it.
I love it. Well, Connor, it's been so good chatting with you and just finding about your journey and what you're doing. So, guys, follow him, please. Just follow and donate. Donate to everything what he's doing, okay? So, thanks, guys, for listening. You can follow me all on my usual socials. You know them. There's a bunch of them. Stay tuned for new episodes coming soon.